How are the ads still not over? Oh my god. Hello.
Ad strong.
Okay, I think I am. Okay. Okay, hello! Hello, everybody. Hello, chat. Hello, everybody say hi. Everybody wave. Hello, how are you guys doing today? Hope you guys are having a good day. Let's see. All right, good. All right, we're good. Finally. Holy shit. Hello. Wrong button. Hello. There we go. Hi, everybody. Hello, chat. How are you guys doing today on this wonderful Wednesday or something? I don't know what it is. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different, a little bit special, because you guys have been constantly asking about gym-related things. So I ended up getting a absolute professional that is completely educated in everything on this topic. Hello, Sclimbo. Hello. Everybody say hi to Sclimbo.
Hi, Sclimbo.
Hi, Squidward.
Hi, Squidward.
Hi, Squidward.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Sclimbo from Sox VTubing Agency, certified self-improvement VTuber. I run a gym in real life, so I know a thing or two about this stuff.
Oh, I didn't actually know that part. I actually didn't know that part. you run a gym. Okay, that's, well, you know what? I was gonna be like, introduce yourself, and now I'm like, I feel a little intimidated, but that's awesome. Wait, okay, do you want to say more about that?
Like yeah, sure. Yeah. So it's not like a big commercial gym. Don't get the wrong idea. It's a small personal training gym. So basically it's a studio gym that's open when I'm training clients, because I work basically as a personal trainer who owns the gym, the studio, basically. Right.
Yeah.
So aside from that, I've been doing fitness and nutrition for quite a long time. I would say like nutrition, I actually am a little more specialized into than fitness itself. But of course I know quite a bit about fitness. But yeah, so that's what we do. I talk about it a lot on my stream. I do, every week I do Q&As for fitness as well. So you brought the right guy for the job.
Okay, good. I'm very happy to know that I got the absolute fucking professional for this topic, which is fantastic. But yeah, thank you, Sclimbo. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. I realize I've been pronouncing correctly this whole time. But yeah, so chat, what we're doing today is we are going to be doing a overrated, underrated kind of list where we're going to bring up very popular topics that basically a lot of people talk about in, just gym related and fitness related, nutrition related things. And we're just going to say if it's overrated or if it's underrated, maybe it's just well rated, whatever it may be. That's how we're going to be rating it. So I got 5 topics. He got 5 topics as well. We're going to go through them hopefully very fast, or we'll see. And if we have enough time, we're also going to do a little bit of a Q&A to try to also like you guys can pick our brains a little bit and, ask questions of like X, Y, and Z. So yeah, is there anything else you want to say as well before we start?
I think it's just really important. Everybody should do like a little silly dance or something like that, just to get the creative juices flowing, do a little silly little dance. I think it's always very important at the beginning of a stream. Yeah, there you go. Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Hit it. Damn, you got moves. Look at that. I didn't know you could do that.
I like to every time I go to Starbucks, I just go like, yo, just give me a second. Let me just put some whip.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. They're calling me boomer now. All right. Chat. Listen.
Damn.
You weren't there for the high school dances where everybody had to listen to Soldier Boy. Okay.
Oh, I was there for that. Oh yeah, I was there for that.
Those were good times. It was cringe, but it was great.
Oh.
It was not great, but it was almost great. It was a little great. I'll be honest.
There was a bit of greatness. It's much like the Glomp era. Like you kind of miss it in retrospect.
Yeah, I think like we should have been more cringe when we were younger. I think we were a little bit too abrasive with the culture of, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you are. Sorry, you came back. You broke for a sec.
Oh, I'm back. Okay. Okay, we're good.
Yep,
okay.
You're good.
Okay, good. Okay, phew. But yeah, I think I was. I think we were too abrasive with not being in cringe culture. Like, I don't know, listening to Pitbull and saying Kodak 50 times for no reason because it rhymes with Kodak.
Good times. Good times.
Good times. Okay, let's start with the first one. We're going to start with like any. Okay, we'll start with an easy one. So the first one, I think you're the one that put this one, is good sleep. So do you believe this is overrated or underrated?
Super underrated. And I know people say like, obviously, yeah, you should get your sleep and stuff like that, right? But like, really, you need to get your sleep. Like more than you think you need to get your sleep. And you might be thinking to yourself, I know that, right? Like, yeah, but how bad is it getting 6 hours a night rather than 7 or 9? No, get your sleep.
Yeah, they also, I think it's also with the culture of like, I think like borderline ingesting energy drinks, energy powders, all these things. I think people have been ruining their sleeps a little bit, and they say, screw it, just keep drinking more energy drinks and it'll be fine. So yeah, I will agree with that. It is underrated, despite the knowledge is there, but nobody really follows up on that knowledge. They just say, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I'll get some sleep next week or maybe in 2 weeks, and they just never do it. And it's like, and then they just go and start pounding a bunch of coffee or protein shakes or monsters. Definitely always monsters. It's always the monsters.
Yeah, and the thing about it too is like, I'm not anti-energy drink or anything like that. I think they're actually like safe to use if you use them in moderation, but it's always important to remember that it's a mask, it's not a replacement for actual sleep. And like the number one thing you can do in your life, probably if you're not sleeping well, to fix your shit when it comes to feeling more well rested and having more energy and stuff like that, is to get your sleep. And I'm talking like same bedtime every night, same wake up time every day. That just kind of has this like cascade effect, even beyond it's going to help you repair your muscles to build bigger muscles and feel better and stuff like that. Because there's this cascade effect of when you wake up energized, you're going to have more energy. It's going to be easier to get out of bed, easier to do your tasks. You won't have as much crashing throughout the day, and you'll live longer straight up. So it's like, I'm really coming around to this idea where sleep is probably as important as nutrition and lifting itself when it comes to overall health and fitness. Easy.
I think it's also, if you can correct me on this one because I might be just pulling terms out of my ass, but like for example, I think muscle synthesis is like mostly happening when you're asleep, right? Because that's when like your recovery is happening while you're in bed.
Yeah, so muscle protein synthesis. Yeah, so there's a lot of very important things that happen while you sleep that including that. That is absolutely one of them. Muscle protein synthesis is raised generally when you have like protein circulating in your body, and then there's the stimulus, of course, to actually grow the muscle. But yeah, one of the biggest periods for muscle growth is overnight while you're sleeping, and that's going to be one of the most effective periods for recovery as well. So whether it be from sickness, injury, or just normal muscle building, sleep is just what you need to be doing. Where it's a very big recommendation to be like, yeah, just pick your sleep and guard it carefully. Like treat it as maybe one of the most important things you can do in the day. It's fun to stay up late. I do it a lot. It's bad.
Yeah.
But you really should be thinking in terms of like, this is my bedtime. This is when I go to bed no matter what. Life will feel a lot more energetic when you do that.
Yeah, I agree. We just always when we see Discord calls with, I don't know, like 5 people playing League, and you're like, kind of want to join that. You're like, no, don't do it. You gotta go to bed. So yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, evil game.
Evil game.
Tries to get you.
It is an evil game. That is true. And evil people play that evil game. That's why you can't sleep in the middle of the night. That's how it works.
Yeah. It's trying to soul capture you in the crystal. Is League of Legends. You got to be careful about that.
Yeah. It's Jesus, man. Ugh. Okay, so for the next topic, this one's also yours. This one I think is definitely on your view. It's protein/meal timing. So I have my thoughts, but what do you think?
So I actually think this is overrated.
Okay.
So to give a little bit of example of what this means. So this is the idea that spacing out protein throughout the day in certain intervals or spacing out meals in certain intervals is very, very, very important for overall muscle building and performance and things such as that. And I just don't think the data is really there. It seems to be that the overall consumption matters way more than timing itself. So while you might get some like minute benefits out of timing, where it's like, yeah, obviously eating carbs before, workout session will be better for that session. You'll probably have a little more energy. Because it's going to be, in your body, and spacing out protein can be slightly more effective, especially for like high performing athletes and stuff. What seems to matter the most is overall throughout the day, even to the excess of whether you eat 7 meals a day or even just 1 meal a day, the overall amount matters. I think there was this idea that it used to be like, oh, you can only use 30 grams of protein for muscle protein synthesis at a period of time. But that doesn't
Yeah.
really take into account that there's other aspects of your body, quite a few actually, that use protein, and protein also stays circulating in your body for quite a while. So seemingly the differences in muscle growth between someone who even eats like 100 grams of protein in 1 meal isn't that different. There might be a few percentage points of efficiency on timing, but it seems to be overrated as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I also want to agree that it is overrated. From what I've seen, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis on, yeah, like you said, right? Only a certain amount of protein powder, only a certain amount of protein in general for a specific amount of time. That's why I guess like people just like some people even just drink protein powder and then do not eat for like at least an hour or two, and then they eat their meal, which is like not great, despite what you hear in the opposite section. And I think it also starts going towards a direction where people start putting it with everything, including like hydration. I think what I've heard is like people like to do that with like for example, like with creatine or with vitamins, like everything it's always about like spacing things out for some reason. But at the end of the day, there's also I haven't tried this personally, but what is it called when you're like when you don't eat it for the like for like most of the day and then at the end for like a huge dinner, like that's what you eat?
Oh yeah, intermittent fasting would probably be one of the examples.
Intermittent, yeah. So it wouldn't really make sense to say that timing matters when intermittent fasting that is like I don't know how effective it is, but people do it and it does seem pretty effective. So the fact that this exists kind of like a counterpoint to the fact that timing doesn't really matter. It's more just about if you fit your like if you hit your macros at the end of the day. That is
Yeah,
what matters.
pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
And the thing about intermittent fasting too is what a lot of people will use it for, and like a tool that I'll use it for my clients is sometimes you run into people who really don't want to count calories. They don't like the idea. They don't want to do math. They don't want to think about it, but they still want to lose or gain weight. And in those situations, especially on the lose weight side, you can kind of use intermittent fasting as a tool where people will happen to eat less because you just gave them a smaller eating window, right? So they don't have to count and they'll tend to eat less. That's one benefit of it. But yeah, there are some, if we really wanted to mince numbers, there are some downsides in overall performance if you're doing intermittent fasting, especially if you're working out outside of the eating window, right?
Yeah.
Because it is important to keep your body fueled for exercises so you can be like highly performant in them. So it is good to have some carbs right before an exercise, absolutely. And I tend to tell people like you don't have to worry about a 30-minute window of eating protein after your lift or anything, but you should probably have some protein within about 4 hours of your lift, whether that's before or after or during or wherever. But it should be in that range somewhere, just so in case you were fasted before that, you do actually have some resources to build your muscle with. So
I think isn't the usual like thing is that you try to eat a lot more calories before your lift, but then eat a lot more protein if you because like your stomach can only hold so much food, so you try to do more protein. Oh, sorry, more calories just to get that energy, and then more protein just like like after the lift just to like for growth and stuff.
it can kind of vary because some people, and I tend to leave this up to people's like individual preference, because like we were saying before, the overall matters the most.
Yeah.
So if you find somebody who can't lift on a full stomach, which actually I've seen that quite a lot, people feel just like heavy and bloated and they don't feel good when they eat and then lift. In the same way, some people can't lift at all on an empty stomach. They feel completely drained. They feel like they have no energy. So there's a lot of individual preference for that. Some people prefer eating before, some people prefer eating during, some people prefer eating after. And I usually kind of let them do what they want. It doesn't matter too much. What kind of matters more is what you can stick to. But yeah, I would say like if we're talking the optimal situation, you probably do want, like I said, a little bit of carbs, maybe like an hour or 40 minutes or so before you lift. And then you can also do weird stuff like carb cycling, but that's more like advanced for people who are like performing or doing competition or something like that. But that is a way to extract maybe a little more energy if you time when your carbs are before a lift, if you don't have many available because you're in a super big deficit. But that's kind of like advanced ball knowledge type stuff where it doesn't
Yeah.
apply to 95% of people.
Yeah, I think it's more for like competition. That's like already like this is not for like the regular person at this point. But yeah, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like hyper optimized stuff. But for the most part, I do think protein and meal timing are overrated for like general population, good fitness and stuff like that. And I don't just mean average. I mean even very big, just not the highest level of competitions. Then maybe you want to look at that stuff. But otherwise, you're chilling.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay, I can agree with that as well. So okay, same page. That's okay. So I will. Okay, so I'm gonna put one of mine in because this
All
one is
right.
surprisingly very contested. It's about body recomposition. So I guess since it's mine,
Yeah.
I'll start with it. I think it's still very underrated because despite how much studies about body recomp like exist in terms of for people that start off going to the gym or at least like working out for like at least a year or two, some sometimes it's even more than that. I'm not sure, but for the first year or two, I definitely am still an avid believer of body recomp, and I still believe that even if you are like, unless you're like super obese and you have to take off weight for health reasons, you need to you probably should be eating more than normal because you're going to be demanding more from your body, and your body is going to end up just like developing more muscle much faster just due to newbie gains, but also because you're spending so much energy all of a sudden, you will end up like basically consuming all the fat over time since what's it called? Oh my god, I thought the Russian word, not the English word. What is it called? It digests slower. That's the one. So that's my thought process, and people really shy away from body recomp because they get a little too hyper fixated on just losing weight, or even worried about being bigger. So, what do you think about that?
I think that I would kind of consider it in the middle for me, where it's kind of just rated because it really depends. I think there's a lot of variables where there's a lot of good lessons from body recomp. And I think there's certain people where body recomp is definitely a good idea. But it's also, I think, not the fastest way necessarily to certain goals. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, a good example being if I have somebody who is a new lifter and their primary goal is to lose weight,
Mm-hmm.
I'm generally not going to have them start with body recomp. It'll
Yeah.
generally be a faster process for them to just go deficit, and they will still gain muscle in that deficit as a very beginner, right? They'll have those newbie gain advantages.
Yeah.
So that I'll tend towards, but there's a lot of good like knowledge from body recomposition. And just to explain to anybody in chat what this is, body recomp is kind of more the idea of eating almost at or exactly your maintenance calories, lifting hard and trying to both gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. We're not talking about transforming fat into muscle or anything like that, but trying to kind of balance a little bit of both. But it's going to definitely be a situation where it tends to be jack of all trades, master of none. So you're not going to have the most optimized muscle growth as you would if you were in a surplus, and you're not going to have the most optimized fat loss as you were if you were in a deficit. But I do think there's a couple things it's really good for. So one, people who like to eat a lot, who have a really high, hunger level, right? It might be really hard for them to go into a deficit even with high volume foods. And if somebody has the time and they don't really mind, because fitness is like a lifetime thing, if they don't mind taking a little longer and having it be a little more sustainable, I think body recomp can be a good idea because you get to eat a little bit more. So it seems more free, right? There's less restriction. I think that's a really good thing. I also think there's people it works on really well. Three groups in particular, where I would say I do think it works pretty well on people who are new. I think it works pretty well on people who are very medically obese, who have a lot to lose. Body recomp does work pretty well. And then the third group is people on steroids. So
Well,
if
yeah.
you are taking enhancements, then yeah, body recomp does work pretty well. The people I wouldn't recommend body recomp for are people who are intermediate to advanced lifters who are really trying to. They've been through a few like cut bulk cycles. I think it's really not super efficient for them to do it, depending on their goal. But if they don't mind and it's like a long-term consistency maintenance kind of thing, I think that's totally fine too. I just wouldn't expect huge gains out of it or anything. But I think it's like pretty rated, where I think it's a good tool. People can use it effectively, but it's not like a secret magic trick, and it's not the worst thing ever either.
Okay. Um Do you think that it's still considered body recomp if you go only a little bit over your maintenance?
I would say like kind of objectively not, but you could maybe prescriptively say yeah, because like objectively you're in a surplus at that point, so you are gaining weight. But then I think we're talking about maybe the difference between a lighter bulk and a heavier bulk.
Mm,
So one thing I think people get wrong a lot about bulking, and this is where like body recomp does make some sense if you're considering it right over maintenance calories, where if you're gaining 2 pounds a week, you're doing like a crazy big bulk and you're going for like 2 pounds a week or a pound and a half a week of weight gain in general, like you're gonna gain a lot more fat than you have to.
that is true.
So
Yeah.
taking it more slow and steady on like a very slightly above maintenance, probably while it will be a slower game to gain muscle, probably will also have less fat to lose in the long term rather than like a super bulk. So there's some knowledge there for sure.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I'm actually, to be honest, I feel like I'm learning more. Just letting you know. So, like, I have my opinions, and like, so it's good to have like second opinions on that kind of stuff. All right, I'll put it just rated because I feel like you couldn't see more to put it like more lower. But okay, I feel like that is very good talk. Uh, any
Yeah,
other?
I think
Yeah.
like I think for the maybe general population, it's kind of like underrated as a tool. The thing is, because I'm like in the sphere so much, I hear about it all the time, and I hear it touted as having benefits beyond what you would expect, like greater benefits. And I'm like, not really. Like it kind of shakes out from what I've seen to have the same sort of effect as you would expect, where it's going to be pretty good at both, but not going to be the most optimal. So like there are people it might work for. I think it also being in a maintenance phase for a long time in general is great. Like lifting hard and being in a maintenance phase is a good way to, you reach your goal weight and then you want to stay there. So that's a good way to do it. And while that isn't body recomp necessarily, that is maintenance phase plus lifting. So it's very similar.
Hmm. I'm on a different sphere because of my circle, it's like the people that I talk to are usually like just never went to the gym, so they consider body recomp like they're very they're very skeptical about it existing because to them it sounds like a magic bullet when it really isn't. It's just another tool, but it is like a tool
Mhm.
that can be applicable to a lot of them. But they just again, it's that like concern of well, is that actually how it works? Because I heard about cutting and bulking, and there's like too much hyperfixation on like cutting or bulking if you are if you are specifically if you're like overweight or underweight and you're brand new. Like intermediates and advanced lifters for sure know about this way better, but the ones that are newbies feel like have a misunderstanding on what it is generally used for because it's a little bit broad from how they understand it.
Yeah, yeah. And I will say this isn't necessarily like a body recomposition lesson itself, but I think regardless of anything, it's really good to just lift hard, kind of no matter what you're doing,
Yeah.
even if you're in an excess, like a big deficit, and your primary goal is to lose weight. Like all of clients come to me and they'll say, "Hey, muscle gain isn't my primary concern. Losing weight is my primary concern." And what I tell them is actually muscle gain might be your primary concern because one of the best things you can do for somebody who's trying to lose weight is get them more muscle because muscle's metabolically active. So their total maintenance calories, their energy expenditure will go up
Yep.
significantly when they have more muscle. So it's a really
Yes.
good tool to make it so they have, more of a deficit or more calories they get to eat while still losing weight. So it's always good to build muscle.
That's always what I preach. Is like you'll at the end of the day, your maintenance will go up if you get more muscle, and also like because muscle is more packed and heavier, you might end up like with the same weight. Like this is like something like that I kind of have like a mixed
Yeah.
relationship with. Is that for me when it comes to looking at your weight, it is a very good tool, but using that as an end all be all way to measure progress is kind of it's not great because sometimes or a lot of the times people will say that they gained weight, but then you ask them, did you look at yourself in the mirror? Because the muscle would like be like they would end up like gaining a little bit of weight, but the fat would actually go down, and like I don't know, fat is just way less packed and way less dense, so they end up looking a little bit better.
Totally.
And it just goes up and
Yep.
that, and then because of like again like you said, it's more metabolic, so you end up increasing your maintenance because you just have more muscle.
Exactly. And I think like the idea of fat loss over weight loss is probably something we should all like think about more and try and like dispel, is the idea that it's weight that we need to worry about. No, it's
Yes.
really like the fat that we need to worry about, because like you said, weight is like probably just muscle. Many people I've worked with have not lost much weight, quote unquote, but got rid of a lot of fat while gaining a lot of muscle. And that's just overall going to be better for them. So yeah, we need to think
Yes.
more about fat loss than weight loss. Big agree.
There's somebody that said it very well. Your weight is just your relationship between gravity, and at the end of the day, that is not it's not a full indication of your goals. So yeah, so
Exactly. It's not your body composition.
yeah, okay. Then on that note, because you did say something about like pushing hard, I will bring up to you science-based lifting. I think that is a good one to talk about because that is I feel like that could be a hot topic for a lot of people. What do you think about science-based lifting?
Okay, so I put this in as my hot take. I put this in as
Okay,
my hot
okay,
take, but only
okay,
under a
okay.
specific circumstance. Okay.
Sure.
Science-based lifting is objectively, we have meta-analysis, we have studies, we have some great information out there. Objectively, it's awesome.
Yes.
Objectively, it's the gold standard. But I think it might be a little overrated.
Okay.
And the reason why, the scenario why, and this is the one scenario why that I wanted to put this in here. I think too many people, myself included, have spent too much time trying to hyper-analyze, overanalyze, and over-optimize a workout schedule rather than just actually getting in the gym and doing work. And I think that
Yes.
for the most part, while you can optimize, and it's really good to, like, ideally, in an ideal world, if somebody knows science-based lifting really well, they pick all the best exercises, they have the best periodization block, and then they manage to execute on that block over and over again as they swap things, that person will have the most success. But people don't tend to do that. A lot of the times people will constantly switch their routine around when they see a new YouTube video about like a hot new science-based exercise or something.
Of
And they might
course.
have been better served just going to the gym and working hard. And it's why a lot of people who don't know much tend to do well, where they just go into the gym a lot and work really hard and surprise, they get results. So in that way in particular, I think it's kind of overrated. All to say, don't overanalyze. Just get into the gym and do work.
Yeah, I think like for me, I'm gonna say it's just rated like at what it is because, but the problem is that for me, it's like aspects of science-based lifting that I think is overrated and some are not overrated. I think or like underrated, and the good one specific thing that I like to tell people is like you obviously know this RPE, which to chat if you guys don't know, it means rate of perceived exertion. It's like a
Yep.
subjective analysis that you ask yourself whenever you do a set or a workout. You ask yourself, how hard did I push myself from a scale of 1 to 10? 10 is like my arms or my chest or whatever is like about to fall off because I cannot do one more rep. That's like how it is. And the thing is that yes, people overanalyze and do all these things. So the problem is that they end up not pushing themselves hard enough or that kind of stuff. And then when you ask them like what's your RPE on that set, it doesn't really even hit 9. It's like usually like sits at like 8. You want to be like, well, I mean even 8 can be like good, but you can hit 9. 9 is good.
Yeah.
9.5 is fantastic. 10 is like, okay, you push it a bit hard, but you know what? If that's your last set, then fucking fantastic, amazing. So that is like, at the end of the day, the person that puts the most effort in the gym will get most gains. But the underrated part about science-based lifting, in my opinion, is about like they talk about like these specific workouts and these things. I think what's underrated is when they bring out workouts that are either safer or have better form or in ways that don't injure you. Here's a very easy example. I personally hate deadlifts. I am one of those guys that just does not, or even like free base squats. I just feel like that is not great for hypertrophy. That is my opinion. That is my hot topic. I think it's still great, but the amount of like the risk factor of doing those workouts versus the results is like it's not balanced for me. It's way too risky for the workout that you are doing. And what happens is that people end up going in blindly, just ripping it, and they don't like go slow on their slow on their negative, all this kind of stuff. They basically they don't go like slow going, like not pushing. Like for example, if you're doing a squat and you're going down, you're not pushing, you're just like slowly bringing it down. People just drop it on themselves and they don't go slowly downwards. Sometimes people don't know about that concept and they just end up hurting themselves because of that. So it's like a 50-50 for me. Like there's some things I think are overrated, but the basis of science-based lifting where people overanalyze, I will agree with you, is overrated because sometimes it's just all about putting in the effort and that's it. And then eating right
Yeah,
and
yeah.
sleeping right.
I think like, the way I say it is objectively, I think everything about science-based lifting is correct, right? Like everything that is studied properly and does come to a conclusion and does have a meta-analysis and proves itself, all that stuff, right? I think it's all objectively correct. I just think that because it has this idea of constantly pushing the bar and constantly coming out with new studies, in effect, in outcome, a lot of people tend to overanalyze and spend less time actually doing stuff in the gym, or even worse, swapping their routine around constantly as new information comes out, rather than sticking with one exercise that's pretty good to get the most out of it for a while. And they'll swap every single week because they hear a new YouTube video of a study or something, right?
Of course.
So
Yeah.
that specifically the outcome. But science-based lifting itself, I believe heavily in it. I think all the objective information is great. It's just how people apply it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay then. Okay. So I will put it at, so I just added 2 rows because why not? Oh my God, how does this work? You go here and there you go. So I added 2 ones where it's just slightly underrated, slightly overrated, and then underrated, overrated. Okay, and I will put science-based lifting as slightly overrated. So, okay. All right, next one is hydration. Obviously, we know the immediate answer, but let's be honest, we also have this. I feel like this is the same thing as sleep. So I'll let you start off since this is yours. What do you think?
Yeah, this is underrated,
Yep.
I think. And I know that sounds crazy, but there's some like insane numbers about hydration and lifting and stuff like that, especially for morning lifters. And this is like one of my big crusades, because I always talk to people about morning lifting. I like it. Again, it depends on your circadian rhythm and what you like, but I'm a big morning lifter. Like I'm talking 7 a.m., 6 a.m. And one thing people really need to realize about hydration is it really affects not just, your skin and how good you feel, your lifts too, your actual lifts themselves. In many studies, actually, we've seen if you go into the gym dehydrated, and that can be just after sleeping, you're going to be a little dehydrated when you wake up if you've slept good, because you slept for 8 hours without drinking water. So you're going to be a little dehydrated. And it takes, a bit of water to get that going. If you don't have that, it can affect your actual lifting session by like 10%. Like you could be 10% weaker straight up in your session if you're just dehydrated. And so I think people don't realize that enough. And it's one of the big things, like one of my crusades personally is telling people, when you wake up, the first thing you should do is down like a ton of water, right? Like get up out of bed and just take like a pint of water down. Just get started.
I think
you do not want to go into a lift dehydrated.
I think you're dehydrated the most when you wake up, right? From what I remember.
Yeah, unless you don't drink any water normally, but that is the longest period of time in a day where you wouldn't be drinking water usually. So yeah,
I guess logically, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, no, I will agree with you. Yeah, underrated. I feel like a lot of people just don't drink enough water, staying hydrated in general, not just like being at the gym. Okay, this is gonna sound, this is a little bit on me. I will say this is like a little bit. I do drink water, but the amount of water I need to be drinking is a lot more because I just feel like I'm a little bit of a bigger person. And when I go to the gym, I start downing water like crazy, like every between sets or whatever. I end up being more hydrated because I go to the gym, which is hilarious. It's like a funny symbiotic thing that happens. But it goes to show that like how much hydration is just important, because I don't know, like it's just, I mean, 10% is a huge number though. I will say that. I didn't know that part. So yeah,
it was like in a few studies, 9 or 10% power production difference, hydrated versus dehydrated, which is like, please be hydrated. Especially if you're doing something like powerlifting, right? When that's going to matter the most, like, please.
Yeah, please drink your water. Yeah, honestly, yeah, you said everything perfectly. It's bad. People need to drink a lot of water. They don't. I think also please drink actual water and not, like, of course there are like some supplements that, like, how do I say, don't consider a Monster Energy drink as a way to hydrate. That's not a good way of going about it. Or sugars as well. Like sugar is not a good way to hydrate. That just wakes you up, sure, and that's just sugar at the end of the day. But you need to drink actual water or just drinks that will hydrate you. Or orange juice, stuff like that, juices, whatever it may be. Some people don't like the taste of water, and my partner specifically, and he likes flavoring in there and stuff. So anything that can get you like to have more water at all times is the most important. And it's also really good for your skin.
Totally.
If people care about their skin, it's
Yeah,
I think there's a study about like just like I think it was like acne and all this nasty things that just happen more if you're dehydrated. So make sure you guys drink a shit ton of water. Sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Right. And sometimes we don't even need all the science behind it. We just have to say, it's water. You're made of it. Like, you need it, right? It's water. You die without it. Drink it, please. It's good for you, clearly.
Yeah.
I'm also, I will say, I'm kind of like a noted defender of like artificial sweeteners and non-sugar sodas and stuff like that. But you do have to keep in mind that, yeah, what hydrates you is water. So everything, it has to have water in it, and that's where you're getting your hydration from, right? So like, water is the best way to do that.
So
unless you're losing a lot of electrolytes, and then that too. But yeah,
I think there's I've learned this from a tile, like a tile setter. They like mix these two crazy things together. It's so weird. I gotta remember. It's like Gatorade on crack. That's what I'm gonna call it. I don't know what it is. I think it's American specifically because I don't think it's in Canada. And they just mix these two things together, and and because they're all in the sun, like they're always like outside and it's super hot. They drink that and it just refreshes them like crazy. So I guess that's like an edge case where you can drink those things to stay hydrated and all that stuff.
yeah. Like in cases where you're losing a lot of salt, it's good to replace it in your body, and that is important. So if you're sweating a lot and you have really salty sweat, you do want to replace that as well. But like pure hydration wise, right?
Yeah. Okay. I'll put then. Okay. So obviously hydration underrated. Also, chat. I'm so sorry. I see questions flying. We will answer questions after if we have time. I'm so sorry. We're just trying to burn through this really fast, but we will answer.
I will say I think Pedialyte's totally solid.
Is that it? I think it was called Pedialyte. I think that's it. I think that's what the dude was using. That they gave.
Yeah. Pedialyte.
It's Pedialyte.
Saved my life when I had a sickness recently. It was really good.
Yeah, it's Pedialyte. Yeah. So I remember seeing this weird ass bottle, and they gave it to me in California, and I was like, "What is that?" It's great, but oh my god, it just it hits you like a truck in terms of hydration. Like, wow, it's wonderful. Like you said, yeah, salt. Okay, so all right, next point is importance of fiber. Okay. Yeah, we obviously know which one this is, but this is yours. So let's what do you think?
Okay, there's a push right now to have fiber included as one of the big macronutrients, even though it's not technically a nutrient because you don't process it. But it should be. It should be. I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
People really need to eat their fiber. And like it's one of the big like food crimes of specifically like the US diet, but a lot of diets. I think it's somewhere, I always get this stat wrong, but there's a crazy amount of people in the United States that undereat on fiber. It's like the vast majority. I think it's like 90%. It's some crazy number like that because the amount of fiber that we need in a day, it differs by gender and size, obviously a little bit, but it's somewhere over 30 grams, right? Somewhere north of 30 grams of fiber. And you'd be surprised how little is in a lot of things. Like a good example, an apple, right? People say have some fruit for fiber. Apple's like 4 grams. And that's great.
Yep.
But you need a lot of apples, right? Same for vegetables. Like it does have fiber. It's really great for you, but there's not so much. You'd be surprised how little there is. Beans are great too. All these things are great. And people know that, but they don't know that they're getting enough of them. And that's like the big thing. Like one of the big crusades I'm swinging around is like a lot of people, when I ask them about fiber, they'll say like, oh yeah, I have some fruit. I have like some beans here and there. And then if you do the math out, it'll turn out they're actually only hitting like 14 grams of fiber a day, right? Like half of what they should be getting. But the thing about the fiber is we're seeing study after study and test after test that's showing that fiber reduces all-cause mortality, not just one disease, pretty much all of them. And not saying like it's a direct thing, but fiber seems to help with so many things, many different types of cancers, many different types of diseases. It seems to just reduce all-cause mortality. So it's something that you want to eat if you want to live longer, that pretty much everybody undereats. And that's why I think it's hyper underrated, because we don't, just like sleep, it's like this is, and the hydration thing, it's like, it's good, but it's more good than you think.
Yeah. I think I will agree with you. Yeah, like fiber is definitely underrated. I will say this is that I think a lot of people don't understand what they're really like, how much they're consuming on something until they start tracking their macros and their micros. I think that's a
Oh
big
yeah.
thing. For example, a lot of people will, for example, say, "Yeah, I'm eating a lot." It's like, "Well, what are you eating?" And it's like X, Y, and Z. I'm like, they say it's like, "No, no, no, I'm eating a lot. I'm eating a lot." And then it's like, "Okay, do me a favor, like go for a week and just track your macros." And then they come back to me, they're like, "I have not been eating enough." This is like one of those
Yeah.
things, right? It's always like, "I haven't been eating enough calories. I haven't been eating enough protein. I haven't been eating enough fiber. This, that, this, that." It's always something that's like they especially like just any like you'll never really understand how much you eat until you start putting it into like something that you can crunch on. And then once you see the numbers, you get it. And fiber is, I will say this, like, yes, fiber is important. This is also something I've noticed in the US. This is not like a political take or anything, but there is a lot of fast food consumption in America compared to Canada, because in Canada, we have a lot more grocery stores and stuff like that. It's
Mhm.
it's like, for example, like there's even labels that show like, hey, this is like good for like this and this is good for that. This is not good. This has too much of this, too much of that. So the accessibility of grocery stores will actually determine how much a person will eat fiber or not. So, like you said, it is very important to have people start tracking this kind of stuff. And I think they'll end up going to grocery stores and making food that way. And especially in my case, getting a health scare, not a health scare, but like once you see the effects of having poor, like not a lot of fiber, you kind of start shitting bricks because you're like, oh, that's really bad. Not having enough fiber does a lot of bad things to you. So I'm glad there's more push for the importance of fiber, but I still agree with you that it's underrated. And it is pushing people to have more healthier diets, not just for fiber, but in general, since fast food doesn't really have that much fiber in the first place.
Yeah, yeah, and I think a big thing too is like you said about the like under counting of calories or over counting of calories. It's funny because there are studies on that as well, and it does turn out that, and this is not a dig against anybody. This is just like I don't want to put the blame on anyone here, right? Because sometimes it's always hard to have this conversation with the client who thinks
Yes.
that they're not eating
Yes.
very much, but they actually are, and I have to be like, this isn't your fault. Just everybody underestimates how much they eat. Like if you look at the study, people who are trying to lose weight, and this makes sense, it's logical. People who are trying to lose weight, who are medically obese, pretty much I think 70% of them or something like that
Yeah.
underestimate the calories they're eating and overestimate the activity. And on the flip side, people who are trying to gain weight tend to overestimate the amount of calories they're eating.
Yes.
Famous examples of both, even among my clients, where I had someone talking up how they had such a fast metabolism and they can eat a whole pizza and it never did anything to them. And then, sure enough, yeah, they eat a whole pizza. That's the only thing they eat that day. And then they eat nothing the next day. Well, what does it turn out? It turns out over a period of 2 days, they've had 1,700 calories,
Yeah, right. Like
right?
that just,
Average.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's just, it
Right.
doesn't work. Or especially when people want to gain weight, sometimes, again, not a jab to anyone, but yeah, like sometimes they say they eat a lot, like they eat 4 meals a day, but then you ask them like, what are the meals you're eating? And sometimes they just eat, so, even when they eat, what is it called? There's it's not pasta, it's something else. There's like these specific, I think it was beans, something else. They're like, for example, they say, oh yeah, no, this is like really caloric. And then you go online and then you see, oh shit, no, that's actually not a lot of calories. And then, it ends up, and again, it's always a hard discussion because people, it kind of is an attack on, it can be an attack on people's habits or how do I say this? How they kind of live on a day by day. And let's be honest, change is always extremely difficult. That's the worst part. So when a person needs to do change in their lives, they want to make it as easy as possible. But unfortunately, sometimes especially with fitness and health, the biggest changes are the healthiest ones.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's important to recognize too, and like when it comes to the idea of a fast or a slow metabolism, air quotes, right? It's
Yeah,
really not something that naturally, I'll be careful about how I say this. It
it's
doesn't
okay.
naturally exist in the way you think, in a way a lot of people think, right? There's not that much variance. When you take if you have somebody's activity level, if you have somebody's height, their age, their weight, their body composition, and their sex, basically, right?
Yeah.
With all that information, you can generally project almost exactly how many calories they burn in a day. And not like, I don't want to put like a number on it, but the vast, vast, vast majority of the population is going to be right in that range. There aren't that many outliers. A lot of people tend to think they are. They say, oh, I have a slow metabolism, oh, I have a fast metabolism. There really aren't any outliers. What
Yes.
does happen is if you have a metabolic disorder, if you have a metabolic disorder, there are some actual things that can affect your overall like calorie burn or how things are processed. But it tends to be a disordered thing, right? So if we're talking like an average healthy individual, it's not the case. And then obviously some people tend to do a lot more um, activity than others. Good example being non-exercise activity thermogenesis
I
or
was just
NEAT.
about to bring it up.
Some
Neat
people,
levels.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yep.
Yep, neat levels. Some people you'll find talk with their hands more, pace when they talk more, bounce their
Yes.
legs more, and that does all add up to higher calorie burn throughout the day. But if you equate all that naturally without all these factors, there aren't really very fast or very slow metabolisms for the most part, outside of metabolic issues in those aspects. So yeah, it's definitely when someone says they have a very fast or very slow metabolism, usually not true unless they
Mhm.
have a disorder.
Yeah, I think for me, like and I'm just like sharing this part. Like for me, I have very high need like because again, I don't look at metabolism because again, it's like this. I feel like it's this mystical thing that's like, well, show me the metabolism, right? But need levels is like something I
Well, it
can kind of relate.
fluctuates.
Yeah, it's always so different for so many people. It's just a case. I don't know. It's just something I just can't understand because I feel like you just need a PhD on that stuff, and I'm like, okay. But need levels,
Yeah.
I will say is that like just to open up, I do have like I have ADHD, but I also have Tourette syndrome, and a lot of people don't know that.
Mhm.
So the big thing that I do is also, of course, talk with my hands, but I also, for example, like flex and like I have like muscle ticks on my face. On my like I randomly like flex my bicep, my tits, my fucking eyebrows, my forehead, like everything, right? And those things can actually like, and again, like in my experience, like I have to like it actually does add up a little bit as well for me, so I need to eat
Oh
more
yeah.
because of that. Yeah, like those things are definitely more important than a kind of overarching, metabolism, like you said. But I think at the end of the day, it's just people that people are just not educated enough because let's be honest, not everybody, not the normal person will not be educated about this kind of stuff, which is why people like you exist, like personal trainers.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And like the thing too about it is like don't even downplay it, honestly. Like NEAT, like non-exercise activity thermogenesis is like it's like 20 to 30% of your calorie burn throughout the day. It's a
Yeah.
significant portion. And you can affect it if you are naturally someone who does those things, you will have a much higher calorie burn throughout the day. And that's going to stack up, right, over time and over days. And it's interesting too because NEAT also changes depending on your overall calories. So one of the major big reasons why some people will find that when they lose weight, they start having to cut their calories even further. Not only is it because when their weight goes down, they're doing less work for the same amount of distance, right? Because they weigh less. So say someone's doing 10,000 steps at 250 pounds,
Uh-huh.
of course, then doing 200 or 10K steps at 220 pounds is going to take less energy, right? So they're burning less
Yes.
because they're carrying less. Not only that, subconsciously your NEAT slows down.
Yes.
Subconsciously,
Yes.
if you're in a
Yes.
deficit for a long time, yeah, you'll stop bouncing your leg as much. You'll stop pacing around when you talk. You'll stop moving your hands, and that also contributes to the lowering of the metabolism. That's one of the causes behind metabolic adaptation as you lose weight. So it's good to be aware of those habits and try and stick to them as you gain or lose. But it's very important. It's a huge factor.
Yeah, I think firsthand I can also like tell you like because I'm like an extreme case. Yeah, it does happen. Like you go like work out or you do whatever, and then all of a sudden you don't shake your leg as much. You don't you don't have like these muscle ticks as much. Yeah, it just goes down and then yeah, and like you said, it does go into a factor. So yeah, thank you by the way for saying all that. That's wonderful. Like that was a very good way for people to be educated about things outside of the quote unquote umbrella term of the magical metabolism. It's more about like that kind of stuff, which is great.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, what's important is always giving like actionable things to do, right? Because there are objective truths in fitness that aren't helpful in fitness and nutrition. They're true, but they're not helpful. So a good example is if somebody is overweight and you tell them to eat less, right? Like, oh
yeah,
yeah, I mean, objectively, yes, that's correct, but that's not an actionable statement, right? That's not a method. That's not a understanding. That's just saying like, yeah, just go do this. Just go do it,
yeah.
regardless of all else, right? It's not actionable. So while that information is true, it's better to explain things and give methods and ideas and mechanisms on how to do those things, right?
Yeah, it's also I think to add on to that, just specifically with food, I like, I don't know, for me personally, there's a huge importance on your relationship with food. And sometimes,
Mhm.
like you said, actionable steps can also lead to alternatives instead of like, oh, don't just eat less. Well, what are you gonna do? Make them starve? Like, well, instead, like ask them like foods that are not caloric, that they enjoy, stuff like that. That's also like a good way of going about it. So yeah, I will agree that, yeah, you know what, your point on like the objective truth sometimes shouldn't be said. It's like saying the what's the word? It's they say I'm brutally honest. Sometimes the brutality of your honesty
Yeah.
like doesn't matter. Like if you're more brutal than you're honest, then brutality like is shown more than the honesty of it. So it's better to actually present things honestly, but in a way where it won't completely destroy a person's like self-esteem and all that kind of stuff.
Right. You never have to be brutally honest. You can just be politely honest.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So my point that I put in was just about cheat reps. So if people don't know what cheat reps are, it's like basically when you go work out. I like how yours is more about nutrition, mine's more about like gym shit. This is great. It's a great balance. So
Yep.
cheat reps, Chad, if you don't know, it's basically when you work out and you do a set and then you kind of like half-ass something a little bit. Like, or like, let's say, like, I don't know, simple one is a bicep curl. Like, let's say you're doing it all the way, but instead of doing it all the way, you kind of like, just like, you don't have enough effort. So you're like, and putting it halfway and then like you count it anyways. That is what a cheat rep is. And this is like kind of like tying in towards science-based lifting. I think it is slightly overrated. That is, so the reason is because I'm not saying cheat reps don't exist. I think 100% cheat reps is a thing that, if you like, cheat, if you like do a rep that wasn't like fully, yeah, maybe like don't count it. But at the same time, you should still try doing a cheat rep if it's at the end of that set. Because what happens is that a lot of people, tying into that thing that we're talking about with RPE and ready to proceed exertion, is that some people think that they put all their effort into that thing without really pushing themselves fully hard enough. And sometimes when you just start half-assing it, but just keep pushing and pushing and pushing, you might be very surprised by how much effort you can also like dish out on that one set at the end of it. So for me, I think it's slightly overrated, and people need to also understand like, and also like, I guess like it also ties into like slightly bad form, not bad form in a way where, this will injure you. It's more like this kind of looks like you're swinging shit around. There are some workouts that like kind of look like you're cheating, but to be honest, it's not really like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like let's say you do like a row, and sometimes you're just like pushing really hard and you don't put it all the way back super slowly, but then you like you're kind of like swinging your whole back. You sometimes just cannot be fully rigid, right? And sometimes you're just putting the effort in, and that is what counts to me the most. So if you end up cheating a couple of reps because of the thought of you want to put more effort into that set, then I think it's totally valid to continue doing that. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah. I think I'm kind of with you on this. So I think differentiating the kind is really important. So yeah, like you said, if we're doing like junk stuff where we're dangerously losing our form and swinging something, that's not good because it's just going to be high risk of injury for not much benefit. But I do agree with you that if you're towards the end of failure on a set and doing partials of that at the very, very end when you can't do a full rep,
Yes.
okay, yeah, you might not be stressing the muscle optimally, but you already were done with that. You've already done that. And maybe that extra 0.2 or 0.3 will add up over time. I do agree with that. I also think that, especially if it's in the hard part of a lift, lengthened partials, well, that's not really cheat reps. I think that's some good stuff. So on top of normal full range of motion lifting. Yeah, I think it's slightly overrated because I think a lot of the time when people use this, they end up just kind of throwing their body weight around and using momentum and having bad form that hurts them. But yeah, there is truth to if you're doing a really strict set and you can't do the full set anymore, but you can do half of a rep, maybe do the half rep. I think I agree with that.
Yeah, just see how far you go. Sometimes sometimes a lot of people don't think they're stronger than they are. And sometimes when you get into, like, one in the beginning, especially for newbies, once they get into the mindset of let me do one more and one more and one more. That's why people like do that thing of like one more, and then you do that one, you're like one more, and then you do that one more. It's like give me two more. Actually, that's why they do that. Is because they feel like, yeah, you can probably do more. You don't know what you're doing. And you're like, no, I'm tired. You're like, no, do one more. And because like the people that are spotting, they can see more than you, and those spotters are probably like, as long as they're well intentioned, they can be like, oh, this guy push that a little bit too easy, he looks exhausted, but you definitely
Yep.
can do more. Keep going, keep going. And then once you can start maintaining yourself mentally on your own, then it becomes golden because you're always pushing yourself to the max. You're always pushing yourself like almost like at 10 RPE. You already know yourself a little bit better because you're always trying to push beyond that limit that you were in before.
Yeah, and I can tell you as a trainer, you could 100% see when somebody has more in them based on the speed of the rep.
Yeah,
Like you get this sense eventually of just like, there's a lot more based on that speed that rep came up or that squat went down, for example.
Yeah.
And something really funny, this is total pseudoscience. I'm going to preface this.
Okay.
But I've started to notice, it's kind of chunibyo. A lot of beginner lifters have like a mental barrier that they have to break through at some point. It usually happens about a month or two into lifting when I'm training them, like first timers who've never done stuff with their body before. Because I train a lot of people who have been kind of completely sedentary. They never did sports or anything like that.
Yeah.
So those people, usually about a month or two in, if everything's safe and looking good, I'll really push them. I'll really see like, okay, let's find out what failure actually feels like. And you'll find that a lot of the time there's this one day where everybody will jump by like 10 pounds, 15 pounds, 3 reps, some absurd, huge scaled jump in performance just because they hit this barrier and they finally understand what pushing really means. And so I think, like you said, like lengthened partials or half reps at the end of a set are a good way to do that because you just keep going until you literally can't do it anymore. You tried and you're still trying and you can't do it. And that's when you know, okay, I'm there, right? Gun to your head.
Yeah, which is, and that's like the best. And again, like the last like 2 reps of a set matter way more than the rest. So, like that's like that's like
to find it.
You need to find it. Yeah, like
you need to find it.
Yeah,
you can't avoid it. And like it's definitely you should do it with supervision. Some lifts are more dangerous than others when it comes to going to absolute failure. But it is something that serious lifters have to find and deal with. You need to know where it is so that you're getting the most out of your exercise and know what your progress is.
Yes. I fully agree. And honestly, if you guys do know anyone that is like that is a little bit more experienced and you're a beginner in the gym, definitely I recommend taking somebody with you because they will like if they are like at that stage as well, like kind of like in a point where they can see that, they will push you. And as long as you don't fully hurt yourself and you do it safely and you kind of develop those stabilizers and whatever this is beyond the topic, you will like it's a great way to just get over that hump.
Totally.
Yeah, we have ads in 20 seconds, chat, so I apologize for that. Forced ads are coming. I'm so sorry. I wish I could turn them. I hate these forced ads, but yeah, we'll be back. We'll wait for you guys, or unless you want to just continue and I don't know. We can just wait for like 3 minutes.
Yeah, we can do like little dances. We can get up and stretch. It's good to move every hour, right?
Oh yeah, you're right. And what's it called? They also say, oh god, what is it? It's like your next posture is your best posture. So it doesn't really matter how you're sitting. It matters more about the fact that it's just a different posture in itself. But yeah, definitely move around.
Yeah, keep mobile.
Yep. Oh man,
it's awesome. I can see you get up and stretch. Look at that.
Oh, it's so nice. I'm getting like a hip tracker and like leg trackers because generous chatter gave me like basically donated it. So I'm excited to like I'm basically moving tomorrow. I'm gonna start running around like a maniac and people are gonna see me like just
yeah.
It's great. And also,
well, hey, I mean, standing up and streaming is a great way to increase your NEAT too.
That is true. Damn it, I'm gonna be losing. Dude, my struggle is gaining weight. I'm not on the losing weight section. I'm
oh yeah.
I'm like it's a rough for me. I told you like the Tourette's and stuff like that. I'm also 6'5", so that's also like not adding to shit. So I'm like, okay, we're just struggle busting out here. I'm gonna start like consuming milkshakes by the dozens daily if this continues.
Oh yeah. So your maintenance calories are probably like what, like 3,600 or something crazy?
35. Yeah, 35 is like yeah. It's bad.
Quick head math.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure it's only 3. No, maybe it is 3.5. I hope not. I'm trying to delude myself that it's not. If it is, then I'm gonna be very sad. I'm like, fuck. How much milkshakes?
Honestly, it would make sense to me. It would make sense to me because if you're that tall and you lift and you have these things that are making you move around more and have like a high NEAT, like I know my maintenance is around when I'm working out around 3,100. So I'm like, yeah, you're probably at like 35.
Jeez, and I'm gonna pick up cycling too, so it's gonna be crazy.
Oh yeah, just start eating 4K. You're gonna be fine.
Might as how many milk? That's 2 milkshakes a day. I make this milkshake that's 1,000 calories. I'm gonna have to drink 2 of those a day then. Fuck. Oh, it's so bad.
Just eat a lot of nuts.
Just dude, that's what I do. That's what I tell everybody, bro. Everybody keeps asking me like, how do you put on weight? I'm like, bro, cup of peanuts on the side, easy money. 1,000 calories. That shit's money. You just eat it, dude. Yeah, that 1 cup of peanuts will disappear in a second. You just consume the 1K, easy money. Oh my god,
exactly.
Oh, so good.
Anyone trying to gain weight, you just have to think of the opposite of high volume food satiety maxing, and you need to have the most calorie dense food possible that's still good for you.
Yep, pretty much. Oh man. Oh, it's also really funny because like with I think like when you're hyper focused on work or you're streaming or whatever, you kind of just reaching things because it's just right in front of you, and then suddenly there's no more peanuts anymore. He just disappears, and you're like, oh. So like if you just put a cup and then it eventually disappears, you'll know mentally. It's like, oh, I just ate 1,000 calories at some point during the stream. It's like, great, it was wonderful. So yeah, so there you go. See, Chad, 1,000 calories. I mean, 1,000 calories, 1 cup of peanuts. I told you guys. Nobody listens. No, I'm just kidding.
I say it all the time, honestly. No, I have, of course, the opposite problem. I am hunger maxed. I have the craziest hunger signaling problems of all time. Like, you leave me in my own devices, I'm eating 6K a day. So I have to track very strictly, or else I'll turn into a monster.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, I don't have that. That's wow, that's what like you like I have trouble like feeling hunger. So you have like the opposite. You just like sorry, no, I feel I have trouble feeling hunger. So you're just always hungry. You always like feel like you
yeah, pretty much.
Oh wow.
And I even when I do like high volume food and stuff like that and go for like crazy high volume recipes, just always hungry. It's always been a thing. You know, I was bigger when I was a kid. And yeah, even when I lost a lot of weight when I first got into fitness, it never really went away. My stomach shrank, objectively shrunk, but something must be wrong with like ghrelin or leptin or something. My hunger signaling's real messed up. So I'm always just like, you know what's the most fun thing I could do right now? Eat a whole pizza all the time.
Yeah, I would. I if you, look, I do the same. Is if you put a pizza in front of me, I'll eat all of it. So get it away from me. But I think it's like, I don't know. I guess I just don't go for the food. Like I don't go be like, I'm hungry, I gotta go eat food. But I also have a problem with like, I will eat a shit ton of food if you put it in front of me. Like I will, do not take me at a sushi bar. You are gonna hate me, or they're gonna hate me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I went to this all-you-can-eat buffet when I was in Japan one time, and there was fear on their face when I was up for my 7th plate in 15 minutes.
They looked at you like, guys, we can't keep making food like this. This foreigner came in and he ate half our freaking fridge. This is horrible.
Yeah, it's like, oh no.
I love sushi, man. I love sushi.
It's so good.
In Toronto, we have a lot of like all you can eat sushi places, and I just consume like crazy. I'm like, yes, give me some of that, some of that. Ooh. Give me some more. It's always great. It's great. Oh, hi, Pom. But yeah, okay. Let's go on the next topic. This one is a very simple one, but I guess, okay, so dirty bulking is bad for you. I wrote are bad for you, but is bad for you. So we obviously know that it is bad for you, but how do you, like, I will give it to you because I'm curious on your opinion. Do you think it's super overrated, super underrated? Like, what do you think?
Ooh, let's see. Are we considering overrated in this case, meaning like they think it's more bad?
Like
or
it's
less?
Like overrated is like it's blown out of proportion, and underrated is like nah, you're overthinking it's too much. So it's like it's more about like the perception of like you touch a burger or like a piece of a burger and you will blow up. Like it's like that.
Oh, okay. I was just confused on which side would be which. Yeah, I'll just say what I think about it. Like, it's not the most effective thing. I think it's fine, right? Like at the end of the day, yeah, if you need to, there's a couple things to consider. So I have this not even a hot take really, but something that I've thought about a lot as like a theoretical when it comes to weight loss and weight gain, right? So over and over again in studies, when it comes to health markers, metabolic markers, when we look at what's the best thing you can do right now to improve your health markers, if for people who are medically overweight or obese, it tends to be lose the weight, regardless of what they're eating. So, you know, theory crafting, if I had a client who was, let's say, 500 pounds,
okay,
and they told me the only way they could lose weight, they would lose weight faster if they were allowed to exclusively eat McDonald's, and that was how they were going to lose weight. I would rather them do that than eat healthy eat
Yes.
healthy food, quote unquote, but not lose the weight. So generally, I think the overall like energy balance matters a lot more than the type of food you eat when it comes to health goals, right? Like getting
Yes.
to a healthy body weight, whether it's getting out of underweight or getting out of overweight, is the most important thing. So, for example, if somebody was severely medically underweight and because fast food's hyper palatable, because it has a lot of calories, if that was the method they were going to use to more quickly get to a healthy weight, I think that might be the better call, just overall, like health marker wise. But most people, that doesn't matter at all. That's just a like minor theory crafting thing. I think dirty bulking is generally pretty bad. It
Yes.
works, don't get me wrong, but you're not going to feel great. Like while the macros might be there, while you might still be hitting your protein, you're just not going to feel as satiated for one. You're probably not going to feel as energized. It won't make you feel good. So because you don't feel good, you might sleep worse, you might perform worse. So I don't think it's that good. You should probably clean bulk. It's just that there's some, yeah, again, fringe scenarios where maybe fast food could help a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't want to be doing dirty bulking, really.
Yeah. Okay. So then you would say like maybe it's probably like just rated well. Like it's well rated to like the perception of it of just don't do it. But you know there. So I think like for me, my point is that I think it's like just rated, but basically the point for me was like it's basically the same thing as you were saying, but for me it was on the angle of the relationship between the person and the food. There are many times where people eat unhealthy foods, which is not great. And I will it is while it is extreme, like I will agree with you, yeah, it's better for the person to eat the fast food than like kind of screw themselves over because I think the health like the kind of the health impact of not eating properly at all or eating, you know, or like kind of leading into a disorder is way worse than just making them eat McDonald's, but you know, maybe they can eat less or whatever, you know. And I think another aspect is that over time, when a person does small habits that will improve them, they will then eventually improve by fixing their diet or making it better. Like for example, it's like for example, like with depressed people, like when you're hyper depressed, you don't even want to get out of bed, right? And
Yep.
sure, the big thing is that you know you should get out of bed and be productive and like come on, like get your shit in order, whatever. But sometimes people are in such a position that it's better to just congratulate or get them to just get out of bed in the first place. And if they get nothing done in that day other than just get out of bed, it's perfectly fine. So it's like thinking of like it's like taking this is why I like RPE so much because you can apply it to real life. Let's say your RPE of getting out of bed is like a fucking 10. And that's it. That is your capacity of the effort you put into that day. Then you're good. Were you productive?
Yeah.
Maybe not societally standard, but but you did the thing that allowed you to move forward, and that can then cascade into other good habits. So for example, in this case, like let's say this person goes to the gym but then continues eating McDonald's. Well, at least he got into the fucking gym, and then maybe eventually he
Yes.
will,
No.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah, then eventually he will, like, you know, maybe he will stop eating McDonald's or eat less McDonald's. Maybe he will learn how to cook. Maybe this, maybe that. Maybe he doesn't, but at the end of the day, he will be healthier in the first place than what he was before going into the gym. And I'm a firm believer that good habits build upon more good habits. I just got pelted by
I
1,000.
produce
Jesus
smells
Christ.
and various
There's
excretions every
command.
day.
There's
I am a
command.
producer.
Oh, our good friend command throw.
This is command. Thank you for the 1,000 bits. Thank you so much. And yeah, okay, this is one of your viewers. Okay, got it.
Whenever there's fitness talk to be had, command shows up. Command is a champion. Command
uh,
is an absolute champion. Has been on a fitness journey for a very long time and is doing some incredible work.
Oh shit, really? Dude, congratulations. Well, that's awesome. Dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations on your journey. So yeah, and I guess like to continue on that point, it just matters to me on a person beginning on a ramp, then kind of like making them start like it's a wall climb, right? It should be a very slow progression upwards instead of just make them do everything correct at the like immediately the first time. It's like, dude, people are like the human aspect gets thrown out a little bit. I think that's why I think that's why I put dirty bulking is bad for you a little bit overrated because people put too much on the importance of the fact that yes, dirty bulking is bad for you. We all understand this. But if you end up like eating like a burger here and there, or maybe, you know, because like you're trying, you know, you might end up like getting into a disorder if you like cut that shit down or whatever. you cause more harm than good at the end of the day. So it's better to, like you said, like, like just allow them to do the thing and, eat McDonald's or whatever, and at least be at the gym, even if it's not as effective. At least some effectiveness is better than no effectiveness.
Yep, it's exactly like being perfect is the enemy of good, where
Yes.
you and this is a human thing that I like to tell people a lot is it's generally said that you don't want to do more than one major habit at a time and then let that establish as a habit and then you can move on to another one major habit, maybe two minor habits, right? What is never a good idea is to on New Year's first say that you're going to get up every single day for a run at 5 a.m. and you're going to be in the gym 5 days a week and you're going to never eat fast food again,
Yeah.
because that's not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. What might happen though is if you commit to saying, well, let me try and get into the gym 2 days a week. And then maybe a couple weeks later, let's start tracking what I eat. And then maybe a couple weeks later, let's start figuring out how to cut down and eat better foods. And then you know what? A year later, maybe all those things are true, but they're not going to be true, I promise, on February 1st if you start them on January 1st and try and do them all at once. So,
I think, yeah.
When I'm training clients, number one thing I will ask them when it comes to making a meal plan is what is a food that you really love that you can't live without? I don't care what it is. We'll work it into the meal plan because, like we said before, the overall energy balance matters so much more than what you eat, as long as your macros are being met. That if somebody comes to me and they tell me that they need to have a chocolate bar every day for their mental health, right? Because they really love having a treat at the end of the day, we're going to work that in. And maybe we'll fix it later. Maybe we'll find like a sweet replacement later. But we're absolutely going to work that in from the start because I'm not here to ruin their life. They should still be able to have fun, and it doesn't matter that much.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like I'm a very big hater on New Year's resolutions because do you know the concept of loss aversion?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so like this is why like I'm so against it. Actually, chat to explain what loss aversion is. It's basically a very quick explanation is that any negative impact that happens in your life is twice as impactful than anything positive that happens in your life. So for goals, if you end up doing like a bunch of goals and you miss some of the goals, even if you reach half of your goals and don't reach the other half, you will end up being worse at the end of the day. You need to at least lose less than 33%, give or take. That's like that's our math for now. But that's the problem is that like we don't want to set goals or things that will end up having you not attain, or of course having 50 million goals for you to track and then you're gonna like not reach all of them and then you're gonna feel like shit at the end of the day. So yeah, like it just matters more to like just be like don't be depressed, right? Like you said, get the chocolate, get the McDonald's, like whatever you want, like to make you happy and not make you like super miserable. Because at the end of the day, are you competing or some shit? No, man, it's fine. You have a fucking Kit Kat, take a break. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not going to lower your lifespan, right? It's like I think another misconception is bad food kills you, and it's like no, our bodies are really good at filtering bad stuff. If you are eating good most of the time, you can have snacks, you can have McDonald's, you can have T-Bell, chocolate, whatever. It's not going to kill you. I have a story. This isn't the same thing because this is a little excessive, but I have a story about a client I had once that I always tell. And it's kind of like a puzzle, like a fitness puzzle, where I had a client come to me one time. He was my aunt's boyfriend, basically. And he was like, all right, I want to lose 10 pounds, but I'll only eat one meal a day and I need to have 6 beers a day. That's what he told me, right? He told me I won't eat more than one meal a day. I need to have 6 beers a day. Now, obviously, did I tell him that he shouldn't have 6 beers a day? That's really unhealthy. That could be, bad. Of course I did. I tried to dissuade him from that, but he doubled down. Nope. Gonna have 6 beers a day. So what are my choices? As a trainer, I could have given him a meal plan that was perfect. That said, here's all your fruits and veggies and 3 meals a day and lean protein and no alcohol. I could give him that, but he's never going to follow it. And all it's going to do is make me feel good morally. So instead, I worked with him. I included the 6 beers in the meal plan. I made it 1 meal a day. And then he lost 10 pounds. I worked with them, right? So you work with them, meet them where they're at, and do what you can.
Yeah, that's actually really sick. That's very clever of you to do that. That's awesome. What the fuck? Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, no comment. Just that's amazing. Good job, man. Holy shit.
Well, you gotta. It's like I think the lesson is like again, I could have you could give somebody a perfect plan, but the perfect plan in the end is the one they're going to follow, right? Like the best lift, the best cardio is the one that someone will stick to. Just like we were talking about before when it comes to like science-based lifting. So you gotta, give people something. and it might not be the best, but you don't have to necessarily like agree with it. You just have to be like, all right, that's not, you probably shouldn't be doing that, and I don't want you to, but let's try and work with it.
Yeah. Yeah, like no notes. Yeah, pretty much. That's encompasses everything perfectly. So yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. So all right, next one. This one is interesting because I have weird opinions about this one. Not weird opinions. I'm like a little confused on this one. So, muscle soreness is an indication of a good gym day. Do you think that's an overrated thing or not? Because to me, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I love seeing soreness, but I think it's a little bit overrated because I don't believe that it is genuinely a indication. Oh my God. Okay, hold on.
I quit smoking, drinking,
We're getting
started weight
command
loss,
deleted.
and learning Japanese all at the same time 10 years ago and never stopped.
Holy shit.
And today I saw a deer that was close enough I could touch.
Yeah, so
a fat
Command said it
coyote
earlier. I
puppy,
didn't want to say
a
it
big
for him,
old
but
frog,
Command has
and a
lost
fat
like
raccoon.
a large human's amount of weight through his journey. It's actually wild. Command is the outlier.
That is
I will
Command
say that.
is insane. Holy shit.
Yeah,
the fuck
yeah.
do you mean?
And I like to preface by saying it is not a normal outcome to be able to pull all that off at once.
No,
it's superhuman that you did.
No, that is insane. In 10 years, start a weight loss, quit smoking, quit drinking. I think learning the Japanese on top of all of those is like the most insane. And you were running. You did running as your weight loss journey? Jesus Christ, man. Holy shit. Think with 1,000 bits, by the way. What the fuck? Yeah, I don't know how to read that. It's just, yeah. But, wow. Yeah, okay. I can see why you're saying he's a freaking champion. I get it now. It's difficult. Yeah, I fucking bet, bro. What the hell? Yeah, man, that's definitely difficult. Are you saying? Holy shit.
Command has a wonderful assortment of very interesting recipes to share that are great weight loss recipes.
Oh, really? Oh, now okay, no, I'm not. Wait, I don't.
Yeah, like we're slop enjoyers, right? Protein slop. There's some cool stuff in there. There's some real interesting slop creations.
We did not just call it
the
protein
slimes.
slop. Oh my God.
Oh, there's some rough stuff in there.
Oh no.
There's some. If you want high volume,
oh
just,
my God. Dude, that's like me taking a shot of olive oil to try to gain weight. Like that's what it sounds like.
Oh. I know people who've done that.
That's funny. Good to know I'm not on my own. Dude, but yeah, sorry, Command, that's amazing. Like genuinely, like you're a fucking, yeah, you're a champion, dude. That's insane. You're a god. That is crazy to do that. That is, I don't know. I'm kind of jealous. Fuck you. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, like, well, no, but honestly, that is amazing, and congratulations and good on you. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and it's good to say that, like, the reason why I do say, like, that is very abnormal that somebody can do all that all at once. That's kind of like your David Goggins type, right? There are going to be some outliers that can overhaul their entire life in one day and stick to it. Majority of people, that's just not going to happen. So it's better to take it on a more graded route, like we talked about before. But there's always people who can pull it off, right? There's always some extreme outliers, and it's very impressive.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, definitely not, like you said, not the norm.
But yeah,
okay.
muscle soreness.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the topic. Yeah, muscle soreness. Yeah, so to me, I feel like I'd like to see myself sore because I'm like, yes, I did it, but I don't think it's an indication of a proper, a proper like to me, at least science says from like the studies that I saw is that muscle soreness is not an indication of an actual proper good gym day. But what do you think about this? Because I'm curious on your end.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's overrated pretty much.
Yeah.
It's, there's many reasons why you could be sore. Of course, you could be sore by working out a muscle. You could be sore by activating a muscle you don't usually activate. You could be sore by doing a different form. You could be sore by lacking on protein. You could be sore because you didn't get enough sleep. You could be sore because you overtrained. There's so many reasons why you could be sore. Maybe you're sick, right? Maybe you're sick. You have the flu. You're going to feel more sore than usual. So soreness alone is not a good indicator. Now, it could be a tool in some cases where you might know. But yeah, just alone saying soreness means I've done a good job at the gym. No, not necessarily. So I think what's better is progression. That's really the good thing to track, right? You're
Yes.
tracking reps, you're tracking weights. If you went up in reps or weights, you know objectively you gain muscle and you're now doing better, right? There's an objective number you can follow, not a feeling. So yeah, I think it's a little overrated.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. Like I think it's a lot of people like to chase soreness a little bit too hard. Like I'll admit, sometimes I'm like, did I push myself hard enough? I don't feel that sore. But like you said, there's so many factors that happen on the human body that you just need to like like again, studies show that it doesn't really, like correlate very well. Then there's so many things that can make you sore. So at the end of the day, it's better to just track it. Like, it's better to just track the numbers and like I said, RPE and all that stuff instead of being like, am I sore today? No. Okay, let me go try to keep going. Because I think it leads to injury. That's the worst part is I've seen a lot of people.
Totally.
Yeah, like a lot of people end up doing something that will lead them to injury just because they want to get a little bit more sore. And you're like, dude, you can't just squeeze out one more because you just want to, I don't know, drop set or something. It's weird. So just it's okay.
Yeah.
Like just track it properly, like whatever, and then you'll be fine.
And a big thing too is there is a lot of junk volume out there, which I'll talk about like very briefly. But also sometimes as you get adapted to exercises, you just won't get sore anymore. Like I can't.
Considering proper
goes
habits,
Command
I
again.
need to go to bed
Command is
to keep my
very
schedule,
generous.
as much as I'd
Thank you,
like to
Command.
keep watching. Night night. Keep it up, y'all, and stay goated, resident sleeper.
Yeah. Thank you for the 5,000 bits. What the fuck? Yeah, that's a lot of money. Thank you so much. Holy shit. And yes, please sleep well. And proper, man, this guy's disciplined as a motherfucker. Dude, and thank you so much, Command. You're a god among men. We are not worthy, but seriously, but genuinely, again, your journey is insane. I don't know. I'm like very that's impressive. Like, dude, that is not a normal human feat to pull off, dude. Congratulations on your journey and sleep well. And thank you so much for all the bits. That's a lot of money. Thank you so much.
Thank
very
you so
generous.
much, Command.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Okay, sorry. And okay, so then fuck, what was I saying?
Oh yeah, what I was saying about junk volume. So there are some cases where as you get adapted to exercise, you just won't get sore anymore. Good personal anecdotal example. I cannot get my chest sore. Doesn't matter how many sets I do.
Yeah,
it
no,
will
me
not
too.
happen.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one that I can't get my chest sore at all either. Maybe like once or twice, like sometimes, but yeah, that is not a normal thing for me. And I think I'm just bad at chest workouts, to be honest. But yeah, no, I agree. It's weird.
I was a bench specialist for a while, and chest is my favorite thing to work out. It's just not happening. Like I could do 20 sets, it wouldn't happen. But I shouldn't do 20 sets. And here's another reason why. There's the idea of chasing soreness and why that can be bad.
Diminishing
which
returns?
is junk volume.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even beyond that, a lot of people don't realize this, but there is a maximum recoverable volume for each muscle that you have throughout a week, right? That's just a random period of time. Obviously, it doesn't reset on a week, but let's generally say a week. And it's a maximum recoverable volume. And there's a lot of new studies about this. We're not 100% sure, but it seems like the best effective dose of a very hard set, depending on person, is somewhere between 10 and 20 sets per muscle group per week, right?
Yes.
So all to say, if you do one of those lifts where you're in the gym for 2 hours, you're just doing chest, and you do 25 sets of chest, that was probably a complete waste. That was probably useless. And if anything, it actually might have slowed your recovery, because what'll happen is you will eventually get to a point where you have maxed out muscle protein synthesis. The response you'll get, the muscle gain you'll get, was maybe maxed out after 7 hard sets or 6 hard sets. And then all the sets past that are just doing nothing, or past a certain point, actively harming you and making your recovery slower. So there's a lot of junk volume out there, and that's something else to consider. So if you chase soreness, you might actually just end up getting junk volume.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people like to just keep going, like keep saying like, I'm just going to keep like doing more sets and more sets and more sets until I just feel like I can't do it anymore. But again, like you said, like to some people, they just don't have that feeling of soreness or anything really. So they just can just keep going over and over again. But yeah, like you said, I think on top of that, let's say if you do like you said, like I don't know, 30 sets or whatever, like 20 sets of chest in one day, then it will, like you said, it will also affect, I guess, yeah, like it'll just affect your whole week. You're screwed because you're just super tired, super fucked. Like And on top of that, like you said, I think there's like a chart that shows like diminishing returns going down because of the junk volume that is put on top of it.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no, it's a waste to spend that much time. Honestly, you're just wasting daylight. That's not doing anything for your muscles.
Yeah. Unless you're just talking to people, I don't know, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, like
true.
you said. Yeah. Okay. And then the last one, I think is the last one. Chat, please hold on to your seats for this one. This is the dumbest one, but I cannot believe I put this in there because I'm not even joking. This is a genuine actual discussion and argument that I had with people, and it pisses me off so much because it's specifically with young lifters. Yeah, not masturbating will improve workout efforts. Yeah, this is an actual thing. I'm already going to put this in overrated. This is nonsense. I'm just going to put this already. I'm going to put it at the very top. This is an actual
nonsense.
Dude, okay, so if you guys don't know, there was a whole fad that ended up being like a huge thing where people, and please listen to me when I say this, like this is just disgusting. Please don't do this. This is weird. They edge or just don't, like they basically just hold on to themselves to perform better at the gym, which is literally not how that works. Like, it is 100%, what's the word? Where it's like oh my god, I forgot the word. When it's, not pseudo, I forgot the word. God damn it. Placebo. This is just placebo at the end of the day, but there was like a fad where people were doing deadlifts and whatever, and they said, oh yeah, just like edge yourself and then go do your deadlift. First of all, disgusting. Don't do that. That's weird.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I feel like that was a joke.
No.
That they were trying to trick somebody. And they were like, oh, you should go do this.
No, people actually did it because I was at a gym where people were doing it, and I was like, yo, I just ended up not doing deadlifts anymore in that bar because I was like, I don't know what they're touching. This is disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Number two.
No, what I mean is I feel like people were trying to like trick those lifters by telling them, they're like, oh yeah, if you edge before deadlift, it'll be better. And it was like a joke to get them to do it, you know?
You'd think, right? But it became a huge TikTok trend and like Instagram trend and on YouTube and everything. And then guess what? People were doing it. I think they actually believed it.
Oh, I'm aware, yeah.
Yeah, oh my god, it's disgusting. So please, chat. I'm just throwing that in there because I'm just beefing. I'll be honest, it's just my beef. Don't beef. Don't be weird at the gym. Like, please, you're in the public with a bunch of people. Be respectful towards everybody. Be respectful towards the equipment that you use. Don't do this. This is nasty. Don't do that. There's no benefit of doing this. It is not true, no matter what anybody says. Like at the end of the day, you'll just end up being more frustrated than usual. Congratulations, and your results are still the same. Congrats. Like,
yeah, and if we actually look at, like, if we took it at face value and we look at the data, and there is data about this, what do we actually find? A couple things. So testosterone in the short term, if you were to abstain, let's say, does boost in the short term. So within like a period of a week, basically, there will be a spike. But, and people get this problem wrong all the time, this is like a dose makes the poison type thing. Testosterone naturally does not spike enough and for consistency enough to actually do anything. So yeah, you will see an increase in testosterone in the short term, but that will dip back down after that period of time, even if you continue abstaining. And it's also not enough to actually affect any sort of muscle gain or performance or anything like that. It's very limited dose response, a very minor response. There's a lot of tricks out there. To talk about it more as a whole, there's a lot of tricks out there and ideas about maximizing testosterone. And if you walk into a GNC in the US, you'll see a bunch of pills that say they're going to increase your natural test and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Most of it's a scam. Generally, if you're eating properly and you don't have any metabolic disorders and you're getting proper vitamin D and sunlight and like proper amount of fat and sleep and all that stuff, and you're lifting, you're going to have maxed out natural testosterone. Like there's no supplement that's going to take you to superhuman doses if you're already living healthily. Now, there are some things that might help cover weaknesses, right? If you're not, so say you have an absorption problem with vitamin D. Okay, maybe a vitamin D pill will help you then increase testosterone because of how that all works. But yeah, it's like you can't really do anything to naturally boost your testosterone. Anything that claims to do it's kind of a lie. And then anything else is a special controlled substance.
Yeah. The good old. I mean, that's why, again, like a lot of people don't understand. That's why steroids exist, because steroids is testosterone, and you're just putting it to a level. Like I'm pretty sure they take it like 10x, 20x. Like it's like a huge number. When they do a
superhuman
cycle.
doses.
Yeah. It's
way
ridiculous.
crazy.
Yeah. So
And that's a big difference too with TRT. When people like older men get testosterone replacement therapy, TRT will only bring you up within a normal dose range when you have low testosterone. They don't give you like 10 times, an inhuman amount of testosterone. That's why there's so many less side effects and it's a way safer thing to do.
Yes. Yeah. But I feel like that's already like a different case because, specifically for, older people, right? Like you said?
Yeah. And the other thing about it is any good doctor, when you go in for testosterone replacement therapy, if they find that you have low T, any good doctor will first ask about your habits. They'll say, well, are you exercising? Are you eating right? Are you sleeping well? And they'll check all those boxes off before they even give you TRT in many cases.
No, there you go. Yeah. So yeah, I hope that fad is dead. I'm not sure, but yeah, especially again, like you said, like I think vitamins and all those things should only be taken if you are deficient in something. But if you're just taking something that you already have a lot of, you're just gonna piss it out or actually like shit it. Like you'll actually like your body will just eject it, like because you don't need it anymore. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. But if you have a deficiency, whole different story. Okay, then that's like a whole different argument with that. But
yeah, most supplements don't. A lot of supplements. There's some good ones, but most supplements don't do too much. Especially all the stuff you see in like vitamin stores.
yeah. I think that's it. I think we got our. Hilariously, we don't have a single slightly underrated one. Everything is was polarized on the underrated section, but I think that's it. That's our like. Right, that's it. Let me check. Yes. But yeah, we got our underrated, overrated tier list right here of opinions that we have. So before we continue, how much time do you have left?
I can do like a tiny bit longer if we want to take a couple questions because I do need to shower and get to bed. I'm going into the woods tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. for a trip.
Into the woods. Okay. All right. Going
to a cabin in the woods.
I was just about to make that.
Apparently.
Yeah. Please don't end up fighting monsters in elevators or something.
I will.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, okay, all right, whatever you like. Hey, you're a free man. But yeah, Chad, let's toss some questions. Oh, okay, somebody already tossed one. So my question is going back on the you don't want to do more than 25-ish sets in one day per one muscle group. Is it bad to do one muscle group a day? Should you break it up to like chest, arms, or legs and back to break it up and do smaller sets of each muscle group? And I will say yes, but I feel like you can say that a little bit better on muscle splits or like workout splits and stuff.
Yeah. So first thing I want to clarify is like I'm not saying 25. That was an excessive number I picked, right? There's nothing special about 25. That's just me saying like 25 sets in a single day is crazy. Definitely don't do that. Realistically, you should probably do something like maybe 6, maybe like 4 to 6, or very hard close to failure sets per muscle group per session, right? So you might do multiple muscle groups, but all to say that maybe pick 2 good bench or chest exercises and do those for 3 sets each and do them close to failure and then do that multiple times per week. In terms of splitting things up, there's many good splits out there. Some people do full body where they'll do like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday full body session. Some people do upper lower where they'll do upper body, lower body, rest, upper body, lower body, rest, or they'll do PPL, push, pull, legs, rest, something like that. What is the most important thing is try to hit your muscle groups multiple times per week with days for break in between. So rather than having one chest day per week, you might do one chest day, but you'll actually be recovered and ready to do another chest day by maybe Thursday if you did it on Monday. And then there's no reason not to hit it again. You're kind of leaving gains on the table otherwise. So it's good to get at least two sessions per week per muscle group. More is better. I'd say 3 is kind of the best, but it's mitigating, right? So if you were to do something like, if you were to do maybe once per week, for a muscle group, you might get like 50% of the gains you would get at absolute optimal. If you were to do twice per week, you might get like 90%. And then if you're doing 3 times per week, you might get 100. So try and space it up into 2 to 3. All to say, hit chest maybe on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or do it on Tuesday and Thursday or something like that. Don't do it all at once.
Yeah.
Every muscle group should be like that.
I think just to trail off of that, because somebody did also ask, how do you keep a schedule? I start stuff easily, but keeping on it for like a week is nearly impossible for me. Like with that note is that what I would like to, like what I say to people is make a split that fits a schedule for you, because
Yeah.
Sure, there's like 50 million types as like the, like you said, PPL, bro split, full body, whatever you like, there's millions of them, right? But at the end of the day, I don't think it really, the specific type of split doesn't matter because it's mostly preference. But the big thing that I will say is that make sure the amount of days you go into the gym revolve around you staying in the gym. Because let's be honest, people have busy schedules. People are, sometimes people are parents. Sometimes people are just, I don't know, some crazy CEOs that are traveling around the world or something, whatever. Or maybe you have a shit ton of time in your hands. That's when you pick out a split based on dependent on what days you are free and how many times you can go to the gym. If you can confidently say, I can go to the gym 5 days a week, you can pick a split that does 5 days a week. Or if you can only go 2 days a week, then maybe you should do a full body workout for those 2 days a week. That's perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
Spread them out. Yeah. So that's go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's what I ask of a lot of beginner people. So if somebody comes into me and they tell me one of their big problems is not being able to get to the gym, I always tell them, hey, you probably don't have to be in there as much as you think you do. Let's do 2 days for like 45 minutes, right? 2 full body days, hyper optimized onto compound lifts. And you only need 45 minutes to an hour, 2 hours a week. That's all I'll ask.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, because I just remembered this. A lot of people think that they need to stay in the gym for like 2 hours. No, 1 hour a day in the gym is already a lot, and like that's perfectly enough. You don't need to sit there and like freaking be like just 3 hours. Let me do all this and that. No. 1 hour, perfectly fine. You're good to go. Easy money. If you're bored and like you can just do some cardio as well. And then just watch a show while you're walking. That's cool too. That's fine. But like 30 minutes is good too. 30 minutes is definitely fine as well. Like you can do a 30-minute workout, no problem. You can do like a minimalist workout, no problem.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've done honestly, like sometimes I'll do 5 days a week, but only 20 minutes a day, where I just go in and I hyper optimize onto compound heavy lifts and just do it like 5 days a week, but I'm only in there for 20 or 25 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's easy money. So next question is, what would be a reasonable time frame if I am wanting to lose 30 to 50 pounds healthily? That's a lot of weight. I think you'll know better, but I'm gonna say like 6 months at least, maybe more. Actually, probably even
hold
more.
on. Let me do some quick math.
Yeah,
I would do. I mean, the thing is, it depends on how much you have to lose. If you do have a lot to lose, you can go a little bit faster. So I would say like 4 to 6 months if you want to get really aggressive is very doable.
Yeah, but definitely like I think it just matters how much like of a deficit and you're putting yourself into, and how much are you like starving yourself. Because let's be honest, again, don't be depressed while going on a deficit or on a cut, because like don't your mental is going to explode, and then it might even lead to a disorder. Just be careful. So 6 months, I would say give it 9 months, like if you want to do it like safely. But 6 months, like you said using 4 months, that's pretty aggressive. Yeah, that's possible. But okay.
People can, if they're more so if people have a lot more to lose, they can more safely lose it faster. So they can go more aggressive on a deficit, because what will happen is if you just have more weight in general, obviously your metabolism will be higher. So you can take more of a deficit without running into the risk of eating below your BMR, or running the risk of not getting enough nutrients actually in the calories you have available. So you can tend to go for more aggressive deficit,
Okay. Sorry, what is BMR? I don't think I heard.
Oh, yeah. So BMR is basal metabolic rate.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just like the amount of calories you would burn at complete rest. So if you were in a coma, basically, the amount of calories needed to keep your organs working.
That's what that's called. Okay.
Yeah, and the reason why you don't want to ever really go under that consistently, like you don't want to ever set a deficit target below your BMR for a long time, is because, again, that's your organ functioning stuff. So while you will lose weight really, really fast, you'll also find that your body will try and start to mess with non-essential functions. So your nails might be bad, your hair might fall out, you might be just generally depressing your metabolism and get depressed and stuff like that. It's not good to go below your BMR for too long. So
yeah, pretty much everything you said. Okay, and thank you for explaining that, because I didn't know the actual like term of it, so that's good to know now.
No problem.
Next question is, which is more worth my money, creatine or protein powder? I don't know. Protein powder.
So
It's more dependent on what fits your macros. Sorry, you go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, the answer for sure is protein powder. If you're not getting protein already, if not buying protein powder means that you don't get the optimal protein for you, it's protein every single time. But if you're gonna get protein anyway, and powder's just one of the ways you have it, but you're gonna still get your protein, put it into creatine.
Yeah, like again, it's like if you end up eating enough of your protein, like you said, then no need. But yeah, but protein is important. Okay, I answered.
Yeah, that always comes first. Like if you're not getting your protein, that is the first thing you need to think about every single time. Supplements do not matter until that's met.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a very good way of saying it. Yeah. Okay, I answered the Astral's question. Of like keeping schedule. Is my diet of eating hookers killing my gains? What's the macro count?
Yeah, we need to know weight for that. We can calculate like how many calories are in like one.
Can you tell can you tell them to turn around if there's a barcode so we can scan it?
Yeah, is that a macro factor? Let me check actually.
Jeff Nippert, please tell us what's the breakdown on the one hooker. Yeah. But okay. Also, circuit the pinned question is the next one. Oh, we already answered that one. So I finished that one. Okay. Next question is. I'll just go through it unless maybe our catches one. Oh, soreness. Oh wait, here we go. Soreness topic related. How does the soreness stuff then relate to doing reps until failure? I don't think it does. I think. Oh wait, just in general. Oof. Actually, I don't know the science behind soreness related to doing reps until or just working out in general, because I mean I don't know some science stuff, but I feel like I don't know. Can you answer this better? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah. Are you just talking about like why muscle soreness kind of like happens at all?
Yeah.
Is that the question?
I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like what you've heard before, really, with like the microscopic like tears in the muscle fibers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like an inflammatory response to that type thing, right? So you're inflamed in a way.
Yes. Yes.
And it's like it's not the immune system necessarily, but it's like similar response. But yeah, it doesn't really relate one-to-one to going to failure like we kind of talked about before, where you can absolutely go to failure and never be sore. If you're adapted to it, if it's something that you worked a lot, or just various other factors. Some people get more sore than others. And again, with like sleep and recovery and protein and all those things. So it's not a one-to-one map that it will 100% happen every time you go to failure. In fact, past a certain point, if you're on the same exact workouts, like week to week to week, you just won't get sore at all ever. Like, at least that's been my experience personally in my body, where if I'm like 6 weeks into a block of workouts where I'm doing the same thing week after week and I'm trying to progress the weights, I'm not feeling anything week 6 or 5. Like there's no soreness no matter what I do at that point on any muscle.
Yeah, it's like adaptation at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. One question is eating breakfast really that important? I'm gonna say yes, but not as important as people say it. But I think it's still very important. At the end of the day, it's if it fits your macros during your day. Like if you can consume the right amount of calories and protein that you need in that day, then like if you get that done, then it doesn't really matter if you have breakfast or not. But breakfast is a good way of assisting with that, because if you are able to eat as many meals as you can during the day, then you'll be able to reach your macro goals in that sense. But if you can't, if you skip breakfast, then you're just adding more food that you have to eat later. So it's more of like you can do it if you want to. It'll make it easier down the road, but you don't have to do it, because if you just want to eat a big ass dinner at the end of the day, you can do that too.
Yeah, and like again, this is a very individualized thing. So like everything you said, I agree with. Also, some people will find that when they wake up, they're not that hungry and they're better holding off because they're trying to lose weight, maybe, and it's better to save their calories to later when they are hungry. Some people, on the other hand, find that they actually eat less later in the day if they have a huge breakfast. So it's very individualized. You have to kind of work with it and see what fits your own goals for trying breakfast or not, but you definitely don't need to have it. That being said, I do think there are some benefits to having breakfast. specifically because like, yeah, you wake up in the morning and say if you fasted for a while, just like how you've been dehydrated for a while after, you've had dinner maybe 12 hours before. Yeah, it might be a good idea to get some stuff in your body, but choice of breakfast is also good, right? Like a lot of breakfasts around the world aren't optimized for macro efficiency, we'll say, right? So
Yeah.
cereal, it's like yummy, but there's no protein there. There's no like healthy fats there really or anything. It's kind of just carbs. So like a good breakfast example, I think, is I talk up the Japanese breakfast a lot. I think the Japanese have a really good breakfast where
Oh.
it's a very traditional. It's called what is it called? It's sansai, something sansai. It's meant to be like one main dish, three plates, and it'll be like a little bit of fish, and it'll be some like fermented vegetables with like miso soup and a little bit of rice, and you end up getting this really nice balance of like
Ooh.
gut health food and also protein and also healthy fats in the fish and also carbs, and it's really well balanced.
Yes.
And I think it's a pretty good thing to hit when you wake up. So
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, for me personally, I like to just eat a lot of oatmeal in the morning because oatmeal is very like dense in calories for me, at least unless I got my science incorrect. But last time I checked, it was I do yeah, I don't like I like eating cereal as like a quick thing, but I don't. It's not my go-to. I will say that because it's not like you said, doesn't have like a, honestly, yeah, you basically said a really cool ass breakfast, so that sounds amazing. But again, I will say that. Yeah, like at the end of the day, breakfast only matters if you can fit it into your day or if you feel enough hunger. And again, it's like, dependent on the person if they're able to, eat. Again, if it fits your macros, it's like a term that is used forever. Just make sure you hit your macros. Timing of the day doesn't really matter.
yeah, and there's a lot of self-experimentation. So experiment with yourself and see what you like the best. Try having a huge breakfast and then less calories later. Try having nothing for breakfast and then all your calories later. Play
Yeah.
around, see what works best for you.
And make sure you don't hate the food you eat. That's like the big thing.
Make sure you don't hate the food you eat.
Yeah. Another one, also high carbon. Another one is what's the best what's the best meal to eat before an intensive workout? Nothing bloated. I will say that, and nothing that's super dense that will allow you to puke. But other than that, just something that's a little caloric and that's it. But there's nothing real. There's no. Just make sure you're not hungry. I think that's it, and make sure you have like something that will give you just energy. This is a weird one to say, but like for example, if you just want to be a little bit full and just need a little snack, you can eat a banana because it has a
banana.
Yeah,
my recommendation always.
Yeah, just eat a banana. It's but yeah, nothing crazy. Just make sure you have something that will power you through the day with like a little bit of energy. You can even go. This is gonna sound weird, but honestly, anything sugary is like because like sugar is like it can give you like very fast energy, and if you're going right at the gym, you can use that fast energy at the gym because it metabolizes very fast. So even if you want to go crazy, you can drink unless you're like losing weight, but you can drink a can of Coke if you want, but that's like just sugar. Make sure you like drink it and then immediately go to the gym, but it's not really that important. It's just make sure you don't.
There's some tech there.
Yeah.
I would say there's some tech there for long exercises. So it doesn't apply to a normal lifting session really, but for a lot of endurance athletes, and you'll see it a lot in runners or swimmers or bikers even, having inter-workout carbs and sugar can actually benefit performance, but it's usually on lengths of like if you're working out for 2 hours at a time. If you're only going in for like an hour and a half, and you're doing heavy lifting rather than more endurance-based stuff, you usually don't need inter-workout nutrition, meaning like having gummy bears or Rice Krispie treat like during the lift. That won't really do anything.
Oh yeah, that's like during.
But a banana before. You don't have to go crazy, right? You don't need this huge carb-loaded meal. You could, but you don't need it. Something as simple as just having a little bit of carbs in you because that's your main energy source. It transforms into your main energy source in the body. Something like that's fine. Just a little banana or something before you lift, maybe 40 minutes to an hour.
Yeah. So, and I'm just like speed running a little bit for the questions. How does one figure out how much of what food they're supposed to? I'll take this and like maybe one more question, we're done. But this one, it says, how does one figure out how much of what food they are supposed to eat? Anyone can answer this. I'm just curious. Simple is, again, any food that hits your macros. And okay, like this one's a little bit weird, but I think like any food that you clearly do not hate. And two, if like super processed meats like fast food or like not even meats, processed food in general, like think of like getting McDonald's and stuff like that is clearly not as good for you. versus, making something at home. But it's nothing that's like super, like you don't have to go super crazy with what to figure out what you're supposed to eat that's good for you or bad for you. It's more about, is this bad food in general? Yeah, probably don't eat it as much, but if you have to, it's okay too. And as well as make sure you don't hate the food and make sure you like it actually fits into your diet and your macros and what you need to have every day. Make sure you have enough calories per day, make sure you have enough protein per day, and make sure you hit your vitamins. And if you can't hit your vitamins because you're not eating greens, take a multivitamin. But try to like balance a plate of of things that you like. But it's not, it doesn't really feel like it's that complicated. It just feels like a numbers game. So look at the nutrition facts in the back of the label. So because on the label it will tell you like a lot of things. And if you're Canadian, it will tell you on the label what is there too much of, and then maybe that you can gauge on something like that. But it's never really super crazy. Your body's very strong on, filtering things out.
Yeah, and to get the actual numbers, so if you want to find out, like, okay, well, how many calories should I eat? There's a bunch of calculators online, and they're really good at this. The one I use a lot is just called Omni Calculator. So if you just type in Omni Calculator, TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure, you'll get a nice calculator where you put in your height, you put in your sex, you put in your what's it called, activity level, your weight, all that stuff, your age, and it'll give you a general idea of how many calories you should eat in a day to maintain your weight. And then you could set a goal. So, okay, well, this many calories then to lose weight and gain weight, so on and so forth. Yeah, you have it right here on screen, the OmniCalc. I used to like this one because you could differentiate what equation was being used, because there's different equations
Oh
for
yeah.
calculating this.
Okay.
They got rid of it though, but it's still really good. The only thing I would recommend is, unless you're getting over 10K steps per day, probably put yourself as light exercise or sedentary.
Yeah, I think
that is the threshold, I would say.
Yeah, just remember this is an estimate. It is not a reflection on like the exact number that you need, but
Right.
it will give you like an estimate to start, and then you can work from there and then test it out. For example, like eat that amount that it shows up, and then then track your weight for like a week or two, probably 2 weeks. See how, like, if you overall went up, overall went down, and whatever your goal is, and then adjust from there by lowering or increasing the amount of calories that you eat.
Got it. You got it. Exactly that. Exactly that. And you will have to test it, right? Because it's not going to be 100% exact. But
Yeah.
use it as a basis. It's not going to be that far off, most likely. Just be very careful about the fitness level that you put in there. And again, if you're not getting like around 10K steps a day, and on top, like if you're getting 10K steps a day every day and you're lifting a few times a week, put yourself as lightly active. But if you're not meeting those two, put yourself as sedentary. It really wades towards medium activity and heavy activity being very, very physical jobs and athletes. So err on the easier side to get your most close number.
Yeah. Okay, one last question before I let you go, because you do have to go. Is it possible to work out when you are on your period? I'm going to be honest, I have no fucking idea. I don't know, because this one, I'm not female at birth, and on top of that, I personally, for me, it's like, it depends, like if you can do it, like if you're feeling like pains or whatever, if you can actually pull it off. I think it just depends if you can like tank whatever you're going through or not. But I feel like you would have a better opinion on this one.
Yeah. I should clarify. So, like, I always tell my chat this because I do a fitness talk every Thursday on my channel where people do this question thing with me. And I always tell people when they ask this, it's like, okay, I'm not a doctor. So when it comes to medical stuff, I'm always like, treat me as just an opinion. Don't take me as prescribing anything.
Yeah.
Because I'm meant to do fitness and nutrition for like a general population. But I do know some things, and yeah, you should be okay, in my opinion, to do workouts if you feel good, if you feel up to it. You just obviously want to be careful about not being deficient in certain things when you're on your period. So obviously iron is a big one. You lose a lot of iron when you're on your period generally, from blood loss. So you want things like spinach, then lean meats to restore iron, magnesium as well. You probably want like maybe dark chocolate, salmon, things like that, for like reducing, like, not reducing inflammation necessarily, but like just make sure you're gonna be getting all your vitamins, because you will be losing some. And if you feel okay, you can do some stuff. Just ease into it, right? Take things easy. If it hurts, stop. If it's too much, stop. But you can do stuff. You should be able to do stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically same thing. But yeah, okay. And I think that's all the questions, and that's, you know, that's our little tier list. And yeah, uh hell yeah. What do you think?
Hell
How do you
yeah.
feel about this?
I feel good. No, this was awesome. I always love getting to talk about this stuff, and
Yeah.
it was a really fun thing doing like the over underrated with hot takes. There were probably
Yeah.
more things I should have put on there. Like we didn't have the usual conversation rant I have about artificial sweeteners, but
Ah,
we could always
yes.
do that another time.
Yeah, oh, dude, of course. Won't be the last time, but just seriously, thank you so much for joining and, like, you know, taking this up. And again, it was a pleasure. Even, you know, I didn't know even how much experience and like of a professional you are, I guess. So it was awesome having kind of your opinion as well, you know, to kind of back up everything that, you know, that was being said. And it's nice to hear somebody that's a little bit more informed and in tuned for people that can, you know, learn from these kind of things. And and yeah, thank you again so much for coming by. It means a lot. And
Yeah,
yeah,
thanks for having me. We had some great stuff, good
yeah,
combos. So
great combo. Oof, oof. What's synergy? That's the one. Yeah, co-host synergy.
synergy.
Synergy. Top down, corporate stuff. Okay, anyways.
Corporate synergy, moving deliverables. Yeah, something
Moving
like that. Never done it.
deliverables. What's the sprint? Oh, how many points on this ticket? Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
I don't
I work
know.
for myself.
Yeah, true. Me too. God bless. Okay. Yeah. All right. I won't leave. I won't hold on to you. You gotta go and shower and stuff. So, but seriously, thank you so much for joining, and thank you for being a part of this.
No problem. And yeah, you have a good rest of the night.
Yeah. Take care. You have a good night, man.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye.
All right, Chan, please give Sclimbo a follow. Sclimbo's a wonderful creator, clearly very knowledgeable about gym stuff. Probably, not probably, definitely more than me, right? So, and yeah, and again, feel free to follow him. You know, he does talks on Thursdays. If you guys ever want to, you know, ask questions more, you know, towards a person that's a more of a professional, you know, you can ask me questions, but I feel like if he would, then, you know, boom, bada bing, bada boom, and yeah. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Why did I say video? Oh, because I'm recording. Yeah, good enough. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. And I hope that you guys, you know, learned something more out of this. And again, you know, there'll be more, but I hope you guys are also very, like, much more informed about going to the gym or being healthy. And hopefully it doesn't intimidate you as much as, you know, as it shows. Because to be honest, there's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's nice to see, you know, it's nice to spread information like this that allow people to feel better about, you know, about these kind of things. And yeah. Oh, and there you go. Thank you so much, Sclimbo. Thank you so much. Seriously, W stream. Thank you so much. I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It was awesome. And by YouTube, I gotta post this on YouTube one day. But seriously, it was awesome. I met Sclimbo like randomly. I don't remember how. I think it was Carbon that introduced. Carbon, are you still here? Nah, it's okay. Yeah. So, yeah. By the way, Fuchsia is in my room. Well, not literally. He just left, but you know. But yeah. Okay. That's that. We have ads in 30 seconds. But before we continue, I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. Number one, if you guys didn't check the schedule, I will be off possibly for the rest of the week after today. So tomorrow I am moving again. God, I hate it. I know. I'm sorry, but we'll come back definitely by next week. And you know, this week was fantastic. You know, and we're like slowly, dude. Don't say moving here. I hate this crap. Did you say Fushio was in your room? He was. He's not there anymore, but he was here. But yeah, he's in the house. It's great. We're like packing. We're slowly getting things together, and yeah, I'm very excited about the move. Yeah, but I'm very happy. I'm very excited. And again, and thank you guys so much. By the way, Command, I know you're gone. You're sleeping. Command, thank you for the 7,000 bits. Holy shit. And thank you for all the follows. Command, Aries. Did I say that right? Yeah, Aries, the Manalore, Jay, thank you for the follows. And Seraphim, if you're still here, I think you left. Thank you so much for the raid. I appreciate it a lot. But yeah, and hope you guys enjoyed hope you guys enjoyed today's little thing that we did. You know, a little collaboration. Woo! Making schmoves, baby. But yeah. But seriously, thank you guys so much for everything. I'm excited. Now, I will say this. I know it's a short stream, but I'm going to probably end the stream right now. I do want to stream longer. I really do. But I have a little bit of work to do and I got to start packing for the move. So I'm really sorry. I do have to go. I genuinely like want to, don't get me wrong. I genuinely want to continue streaming, but I have to be a little bit responsible. So seriously, guys, but like seriously, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you guys possibly at the end of this week. If not, oh, wait 1 second. Okay. If not, I'll see you guys for like 100% next week. I'll post a schedule by Sunday and, you know, we'll start, you know, and we'll figure something out. I'll let you know, by the way, there's going to be some stuff, including IRL streams in the future, which I'm very excited about, including me eating a, actually, I should shut the fuck up. That's a surprise. Anyways, but yeah. So we'll have a lot of cool stuff happening in the future. And again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys so much for all the support. You guys are lovely. Oh yeah, right. And there will be a second channel soon that I will start putting stuff up. Hopefully I can get some work caught up because this thing is a little bit like chaotic. But yeah. And yeah, seriously. Thank you guys. You guys are lovely. You guys are amazing. You guys are wonderful. Take care, guys. You guys have yourselves a good day. Goodbye. 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 Okay. Bye-bye.